Starting in 3, 2, 1. Hello, this is Pangoria Fallstar, as always hanging out with my best pal.
I'm not introducing myself again. This is the same day recording.
Oh no, don't show them behind the scenes. So, and this is actually one of my favorite things from podcasts. When I see a podcast and like somebody's wearing the same shirt and they're like, "This isn't a separate day," but then the other people are somebody else got like up in between the takes and like actually changed their shirt, and they're like, "I don't know what you're talking about. We're clearly recording on a separate day. You must really like that shirt. It must have fallen on the same day of your recording schedule." So,
yeah.
all right. So, actually, what I wanted to talk about and see if you don't mind talking about is the background system that we have.
Oh, right. That thing. Yeah, we've never talked about that.
So, I just wanted to go over it real quick. Here's a freebie, and this is the kind of stuff that I'm going to be putting out in a PDF once I remove some of the overtly borrowed things. But for right now, you guys can kind of like look at the idea of how I run backgrounds in my campaign. So, which is to say, steal it. Let's go. Welcome, friend. Take this information, run with it.
Yep.
How do we build backgrounds? We got our whole background system here. When you build a background,
Beep boop.
Who?
I said beep boop because I read things mechanically.
Yeah, maybe you do. I feel like you put too much effort into trying to read it and not enough effort into just talking about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Which is funny because a lot of times when I talk, people say that I sound robotic. Beep 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 boop boop.
Anyways, but yeah, there's like 7 different, I don't know what the exact term is, components? There's 7 different components to a background in this system.
So when you build a background, you pick a theme for your background. You choose your ability score increases, your skill proficiencies, your tool proficiency, languages, feat, and 50 gold pieces worth of starting equipment.
And that's all standard to the Unearthed Arcana version of the background.
Yeah, although I think I force a tool proficiency on you guys, where the where the other ones don't.
I think you do also force a language.
Because of how I reward magic items, which is I don't, you make them.
Yep.
It's very important, which is very important for you guys to have tool proficiencies. So, and then you choose a theme, which are academic, athletic, espionage, noble, religious, criminal, law enforcement, military, hermit, helper, and merchant.
Yep. 11 themes.
Yeah. So then you get your ability score increase. This is standard. It got moved over to backgrounds. You get the 2 on one, 1 on the other, or 1 to 3 different ability scores. You get 2 proficiencies from your background. You get a tool proficiency, and don't think I have it stated here, or I have it stated awkwardly. Whenever somebody gets a tool proficiency, they'll get the toolkit for it. You just like, you have this, you got it. If somebody starts as a car mechanic, they have a mechanic tool case with them, right? Like, you're not gonna.
It maybe not with them depending on the game, but like they have access to the thing if they're in a position where they need to
give them the garage. Like, don't mess with the players like that. Just, you have the thing. We'll move on. You'll have access to it. We'll move on. Like, it's not.
This character decided that it was important enough that they be a nuclear physicist that they wrote it on their character sheet. Let them have their hadron collider, okay?
Yeah, or at least access to it.
Have this.
Yeah,
there we go.
They have the little
that gives them the door open thing.
Yeah, there we go.
Give them the thing. They want the thing. Give it to them.
And then, of course, you have your first level feat. I didn't necessarily used to run this, but it grew on me with how often people were talking about that. And then they came up with the first level feats in the UA, and I went, you know what? I'm down. I'm in. I went through, did a bunch of first level feats, changed a bunch of stuff to first level feat style, and I said, we're in. Retroactively gave it to all the players because,
It makes sense.
Yeah, and then you get your starting equipment, and spare gold pieces and stuff. So then you have the backgrounds, and we'll start, we'll go alphabetic, how I have it set up here. We have the academic background, and I have to say that examples I have are anthropologist, archaeologist, and sage. That's there so that if you're getting somebody who has a traditional background or built their character more traditionally, you can say, "Cool, you're an archaeologist, awesome. You're going to fall under an academic background. You're going to have the rank 0 access, which is this is the one that is very clearly just stolen. There's a lot of Ravnica borrowed right now. But you get like one of the Ravnica background things, and sort of like, here you go. It's like access to city maps, architecture plans from a city official. And there's also a lot of caveats of like access revoked on these rank 0 things. It's just there for you to just, a little bit of flavor. It lets you do some early campaign stuff, I feel.
During
That's
the
more
period of
RP.
time where your characters are not supposed to be getting into big scary fights, because big scary fights will smear them all over the walls, this gives them like the ability to access stuff that they might not otherwise have access to early on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm an academic. I could get us some architectural plans for this place so that if there's a secret tunnel or something, we could find it and then go looking for stuff.
And then sort of like, yeah, you see a gap, and then when they go there, there's like, we break down this wall. It's like, there's the gap. It's a secret tunnel. We did it. There you go.
Yep.
They used an ability that gave them access to the thing instead of, like, for example, my players have been through several dungeons, several instances, and have only ever found 2 secret tunnels.
We are a bunch of thick, meaty-headed, punchy people.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Yeah. So there's definitely not enough like searching for a hidden passageway at different times and one of them was because somebody happened to look at a certain place.
Yeah, the biggest example of the problem isn't even, searching for secret dungeons. It's, these are a bunch of magical reagents that we could use to make this future thing easier. Oh, that's neat. Hey, look, a Hydra! And like that just happened, and it was from a book, and we're a bunch of meatheads.
So rank 0, you start like that. Now, I recommend that you give them at least about 4 levels before you give them another rank. You want them to be like hitting 5th level and then give them rank 1. Rank 1 gives them a cantrip. And that's going to be true across all of these. So you're going to see a pattern. And I think as we go through, it'll be faster. But rank 1, they get a cantrip. And you go, oh my God, everybody gets a cantrip in this campaign. So it's like if you're a pure martial, you suddenly have a cantrip. Isn't that so powerful? And I'm like, if the marshal's taking their full action to do this instead of attacking, and again, you're giving it to them when they get their second attack, they're going to be like, let me just attack twice. What are you talking about? Get this cantrip out of here.
For that matter, like a lot of the cantrips are attack cantrips, but a lot of the cantrips, especially the rank 1 ones, are also not attack cantrips. I don't know if I phrased that well.
Yeah, it's usually more about it being slightly different on things. The rank 2, you get a spell that they get to cast once per day. For academic, it's Chaos Bolt, Create Destroy Water, or Unseen Servant. The non-caster now has a spell. Yeah, it's once per day. It's not added to their list or anything, so it is just once per day. It's like, here you go.
Yeah, it's borderline a spell-like ability.
Yeah.
And like a lot of what I ended up using like these spells for, like current character is a bad example, but Kali picked up Create Destroy Water. She was an academic.
Yeah.
She picked up Create Destroy Water because that's like it's this weird situational niche use spell. It's on her list. She could prepare it.
Yeah.
She was usually preparing other things. So having one of these a day helped the party out on more than one occasion.
Yeah, actually, this is true. This is true. It helped put out a fire.
Yeah. It also helped keep Indigo from drowning. Wouldn't have happened if I'd taken Chaos Bolt and tried to be all, I have damage numbers.
Yeah, exactly. So there's just like...
Yeah.
And I also run a campaign where you need to kind of have a little bit, you need to be able to punch up a little bit harder because I run monsters a little bit tougher when I run them. Like, not like when I was running out of the book, I was running like normal monsters, so I want to see how that was. But when I run monsters, I definitely...
They folded like cheap laundry.
Yeah.
They straight up folded like cheap laundry. It was a recurring joke that Fiddlesticks could not get a second turn.
Yeah.
Fiddlesticks spent his first turn setting up and his second turn realizing that the fight was over.
Yeah. And then, so then rank 3, we have an elemental bonus increase. This is part of my elemental system where the players get to distribute their elemental points across different kind of concepts, like being able to move slightly faster, be more accurate with their hits, being able to like block like upwards of 75% of incoming damage, things like that.
That is another system we haven't talked about, and we'll save it for another day.
Yeah, and so that's so it gives them another +1 on that. Elemental system also works with the stun system and gives them another point there. So this is like a big power increase for my players. And you can change this to something else. I also added increases your attunement slots by 1, and
Because we kept making things that needed attunement and then realizing we didn't have enough slots.
but it's also something that I like as a character growth thing. Because it's not just being leveled up. It's, you know, you are doing things and you are being imbued with the ability to handle more magic is the idea.
You are interacting with the system enough that you are able to take on more without exploding.
Yeah, and then it negates the magical draw of potions for mana devourers, because at this point it's sort of like, okay, yeah, potions are not, while helpful, you don't want to be reducing how many potions, and the need for potions increases, I think, around this point. So rank 0, about level 1 through 4. Rank 1 goes like 5, goes, oh no, it's 1 through 5 for rank 0. Then rank about level 7 for rank 1, about level 9 for rank 2.
Yeah, cap was 5, 7, 9,
Something like
11, 13.
And then it starts counting by 1.
Rank 13,
11,
14,
13,
15, 16, 17, 18,
15,
19.
yeah.
I think rank 5 gets you cap to 15.
Yeah.
And then 6 through 10 go up by 1 apiece.
16,
Okay.
17, 18, 19, 20, yeah. So, and this is just recommended levels, by the way. I'm capping the players because I'm like, because it's sort of like your it's sort of like,
If this
you want to
one
get
did
stronger.
not cap the players would spend literally 10 years doing nothing but leveling up.
Yeah.
Be level 20 immediately.
Yeah.
And then start getting ranks.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm like, you want more power, you gotta go. So
Do things, earn the thing.
yeah. So
get the stuff.
So rank 4, you get
Engage with the story, damn you.
Rank 4, you get a different cantrip. In this case, for academic, it's Produce Flame. And then rank 5, you get a second level spell. And for academic, it's either Heat Metal or Rope Trick. Rank 6, you get an elemental bonus again, and increases your attunement slots by 1, and it gets the magical draw of scrolls.
Une mas, une mas, une mas, une mas.
And then rank 7, you get an elemental manipulation cantrip, which is a special cantrip that I have. Rank 8, you get a 3rd level spell, Call Lightning, elemental weapon, or Glyph of Warding, that they get once per day. And again, they just get it the once per day, so I don't care. I don't need to worry about. They don't get to like recast it using spell slots. This is just, you get it once, you know? Hope you use it right.
Yeah, these are good panic buttons or bits and bobs that you can go, oh, I happen to have this.
Yeah.
So this, and I can use it once. So as long as we don't need it more than once, we're good. Oh, we need it regularly. Come back tomorrow.
It's also a 3rd level spell on an 18th level character that they get once per day. It's
yeah. By the time you get to this point, your guys are already casting 9th level spells.
Yeah. Rank 9, you get a 5th level spell, Conjure Minor Elementals, Divination, or Animate Objects for the academic. And I skipped 4th for a very specific reason. 4th level spells in 5th edition are in a weird space where like they're not as good as 3rd or 5th level spells. And so I'm like, I'm going to get the more interesting choice.
The power spike is very much 3rd level spells at 5th and 5th level spells at 9th. The 4th level spells, like universally, I look at 4th level spells on like a cleric and a druid and I'm like, I have to?
Yeah.
I do?
Yeah,
okay.
And we're not saying that there aren't interesting, like, not that the spells
Like,
are
none
bad.
of the spells are bad.
They're just,
none of the spells are bad.
They're just not as
for
interesting.
Freedom of movement, those are 2 fantastic spells. That's kind of the rub of it. I can survive death once. No concentration. Super useful. There's a lot of characters who probably would have benefited from that.
And then rank 10, you have, it covers 3 different stats that you break the cap of 20 and you get +2 on that ability score. That just makes you the best academic out there, kind of thing. And that's kind of the goal. And for academic, it's intelligence, charisma, or wisdom. So that's the base of the idea of backgrounds, right? And then you just go through and you have it for the different concepts. So athletic is athlete, fisher, folk hero, gladiator. So athletic and academic are on completely different, academic is all the mental stats, athletic is all the physical stats, but you get magic in both. You get and it's important to note, when you get a cantrip from your background, it uses your primary attribute. So if you are not a caster, let's say you're a fighter, your primary attribute is strength, all of the spells would then use your strength score to cast, to set the DC and things like that.
Yep. Let's see. If I really wanted to interact with this with a non-spellcasting, just a character that did not want to interact with this, like a barbarian athlete, wouldn't be able to use any of the cantrips, which is hilariously ironic because attack cantrips would be really helpful with maintaining rage. But it's got a lot of stuff that it's got a lot of additional options for engaging for when rage is, for whatever reason, not an option.
Well, you have a limited number of rages. There's a lot to be said of being able to pick up some magic stones, and because strength is your casting ability, you still just use your strength on the magic stone attacks.
Huck a rock,
Yeah, and so it just gives you 3 pieces of ammo that are now stronger than normal. The ability to flavor a ray of enfeeblement as a intimidation on the enemy.
I personally feel like that cuts into what Intimidate is going to want to do.
Or destruction wave, where you're again, it's like the thunder wave. I'm going to clap and you're going to get clapped.
Get clapped, idiot.
Yeah. There's a lot of flavoring you can do with this. You can choose your spells yourself. The backgrounds, I kind of found the things that grouped what I felt the best way and had its own kind of flavoring that was deep enough to cover a lot or a lot of the possible playstyles. And then we have the elemental manipulation cantrip. Now, this is the important piece because if you have seen the new UA and they have the little Monk for Elements update that has you can put some dust if you're earth thingy on it. And when I saw that they had this kind of the cantrip name in the latest UA, which this is so long in the future that you guys probably don't know the UA, or maybe I released this now so that way this all makes more sense. I thought that they had stolen the quote unquote, or they had hit upon the concept of the elemental manipulation cantrip that I have, and had it be similar.
Okay, I'm braced.
Right, but
oh wait, no, I'll have to actually track it down and read it myself to really know what's going on with that.
Yeah, and hold on. Let me switch screens for a moment. Chatty, there we go. I'll open it up real quick. And I'll tell you because
navigate to monk because I'd only gotten to cleric.
Well, no, it's not going to be in monk because it's at the bottom.
It's all the way down at the bottom where the spells are.
Yeah, there it is. So it's an action, range of 30 feet, verbal, somatic, instantaneous. This is elementalism from the new UA. You exert control over the elements, creating one of the following effects within range.
Beckon air. You create a breeze strong enough to ripple cloth, stir dust, rustle leaves, and close open doors and shutters, all in a 5-foot cube. Doors and shutters being held open by someone or something aren't affected. And yes, it does say close open doors.
In a 5-foot cube. So one door?
In a 5-foot cube.
One door?
A door.
Okay.
Shall I keep going, or do you
beckon earth.
This?
You create a thin... Hold on. Beckon earth. You create a thin shroud of dust or sand that covers surfaces in a 5-foot square area. Or you can cause a single word to appear in your handwriting in a patch of dirt or sand. Ooh.
And if the 5th edition wasn't such an exact words game, in its design, that would be cool and potentially really useful.
Yeah.
Oh, is the ground covered in sand? That probably makes it really slippery all of a sudden. Like,
Well, but it doesn't.
but it doesn't.
Yep.
It just puts the sand there.
Yep.
Doesn't make it difficult terrain or nope, you just cover it in sand.
Yep.
This is you are utilizing the arcane forces of reality to get sand in your parents' minivan.
You know what it reminds me of? Amelia Bedelia, when she's told to dust the furniture.
Oh, is Amelia Bedelia the maid?
Yeah, and she does it literally, and she gets dusting powder and puts dust on the furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very much Amelia Bedelia energy on the Beck and Earth. I put dust on it. I don't know what else you wanted. Beck and Fire. Go ahead.
Beckon fire. You create a thin cloud of harmless embers and colored scented smoke in a 5-foot cube. You choose the color and scent, and the embers can light candles, torches, or lamps in that area. The smoke scent lingers for 1 minute.
Again, in a 5-foot cube.
You know what else would let you create embers and colored scented smoke in a 5-foot cube? Lighting a cigar!
I'm just saying that it's not thaumaturgy, right? Because thaumaturgy, you can light up all the candles in range.
Yeah.
Like it's just like why is everything is so much into these 5-foot squares, 5-foot cubes, but they're also not really doing anything. Not even anything that other cantrips like this, for example, prestidigitation and thaumaturgy and druidcraft could do. It's so much more limited. Beck and Water, I think, is one of the strongest things that this does.
Because it makes a cup of clean water, or because it lightly dampens?
It's a spray of cool mist, which means you can cool mist yourself in the desert, and it dampens creatures and objects in a 5-foot cube. You can also create 1 cup of clean water.
The 5-foot cube.
You can also make a cup of clean water that evaporates after 1 minute. I don't know what that means in the case of you drinking the water, the clean water. What does that mean? What happens? Because it says it evaporates. If it's in your stomach, what happens when it evaporates?
Is this meant to be an assassination cantrip?
I'm just saying.
It seems like it's an assassination cantrip.
I'm just saying, it does. Water in your body doesn't evaporate like that. What's going on? And then, of course, we have the last bit of it, which is the sculpt element, which is you can cause dirt, sand, fire, smoke, mist, or water that can fit in a 1-foot cube to assume a crude shape, such as that of a creature or an object, for 1 hour.
Ah, yes. The Scarecrow Gambit.
You can crudely create a blackjack out of water and hit somebody with it, because it's going to be sturdy for 1 hour. That's weird. I don't know. That's like probably the coolest thing, but it doesn't actually do anything because it doesn't make it a weapon, doesn't make it. There's just so much missing from all this, right?
You made a cantrip that does 5 things while doing nothing.
Yeah. So let's look at my elemental manipulation cantrip. Casting time 1 action. Range 10 feet. Oh no, this is so much closer. You had 30 feet on the thing.
Yeah, you have 30 feet on the cantrip that does 5 things that do nothing. You have 10 feet on the cantrip that does pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah. Components, verbal, somatic, and duration 1 hour. What's the duration on the other one?
Instant.
Instant, okay. And then target C text. Okay, so first of all, you get a cantrip that deals 1d6 of a type based on your element. My campaign, everybody's assigned an element out of 16 elements. It's a thing I do. Those elements deal different kinds of types that fit into 5th edition types, so that way things make sense within 5th edition resistances and whatnot for monsters. That's all. You get a cantrip that deals 1d6 damage of a type based on your element that you control as a general effect with an action. That right now, and I have examples of general effects, that right now just kind of covers a lot. So a creature must make a saving throw when it moves into the affected space for the first time on a turn or ends its turn there. The saving throw type is based on the element. So things that you can do as an action with the element. And mind you, I even say it's a non-exhaustive list. One of my favorite words to use in a lot of these things that I do, which essentially says, ask your DM.
Ask your DM. Be creative and clever.
Yeah.
Do things that we did not account for.
Yeah. And the things listed do not work with all elements. That's the other thing, because like sometimes you go, how would that make sense? It doesn't. This is just a general idea list, and you can add your own ideas. Make a 5-foot cube difficult terrain using your element.
I think that one's kind of universal, honestly.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how you would.
Is your element ice? Well, it's icy ground. Is your element magma? Well, there's some magma stones that they have to pick through. Mind you, if they fail to save, not only are they traveling through difficult terrain, they stepped in the magma a bit and they dealt 1d6 damage.
CD6. Continue.
Huh?
I literally defaulted to the shorthand notation I use when I write spell cards.
Oh, okay.
Which refers to cantrip damage as CD6.
Right, because of cantrip level, who cares?
Yeah.
You're a weirdo. You're so strange. You're my friend and you're so strange. I love you.
This started out mean and got really confusing.
And I love you, and I love your weirdness, okay? All right, let's keep moving on.
Okay.
Change the color of how your element appears, either with a shape or design or message on it, covering a 5-foot area, non-damaging. So this is a way for you to do the action, not hurt anything. And you can do the message that they did with the dust or the sand or the dirt or the whatever. Doesn't have to be in your handwriting. It'll have a font. Who cares?
I do like the hilarious mental image of like people choosing different fonts for their messages.
Yeah.
So like you get the guy who specifically says, okay, yeah, all my mental thoughts are in Comic Sans.
Yeah, that's me. That's me.
That explains so much.
It does. So, but yeah, so, and you can change how your element appears. So you can have blue magma. Sure, let's move on with our lives, This is fun. This is a fun thing. Change the direction your element is moving in, causing it to go faster, slower, reverse, etc. within a 5-foot cube.
That is a whole lot of words all at once. And I think what it basically boils down to is if there's a thing and it's moving, you can change where it's moving to.
Yeah. Is there some earth sliding down a hill? Not there. Not in that 5-foot cube, and that probably creates a wall for you of dirt, sliding down and hitting this wall and kind of building up for a quick bit that maybe you can hide under or something. Who knows?
This is the way we do not die, do not die, do not die.
Mind you, that blocking is going to last for an hour.
Hell yeah.
So it's like, oh my god, magma. I got you guys.
It may even have, there is a non-zero chance it has knock-on effects, but that would require a DM calculation. And chances are, if a DM is forced to calculate how the magma flows, the DM's going to say, you see this 5-foot cube? It ignores this 5-foot cube and nothing else.
Or you see this 5-foot cube, it now splits the magma and it goes this way and that way.
Those are the two options.
Yeah. And depending on what kind of DM you have, you're fine.
Is it okay to go ahead and reference that TikTok?
Oh my god, yeah, that video. I was so angry.
I was so angry. I don't even do stuff like that, and I was legitimately heated.
Oh my god, yeah. I was like, I was pausing the TikTok, getting up and walking around my kitchen, like fighting people, like in my head about it. Like I was so angry.
What are you doing? You have a player who is engaging with the thing.
Yeah.
I don't engage with the thing. I know how valuable engaging with the thing is.
Yeah, it's just
you're
to
shitting on it.
and just to
You're
catch
literally shitting on it.
just to catch people up. There's a TikTok of like there's these I don't know who. Hold on, let me bring up the thing.
TLDR, two D&D players are talking about, in particular, one of them playing an artificer, and they like to focus on the flavor of things. And
Right,
this is all off the top of my head.
I was gonna get to that point, but Eldritch Pod Blast is the two people. Okay, it's a clip from episode 45 of their Pod Blast. That's their podcast. Okay, it's a D&D podcast that they have, and they were doing like a D&D horror story that they were reading where the DM, and this is the part you were getting to.
Had this DM that would be extremely punishing on me, in particular, if I ever dared to flavor my spells. So I tend to give my spells a little spice, like Cure Wounds was a syringe of questionable alchemy, so on and so forth. The first example I remember this happening with was when I cast the catapult spell, and I said I had scrapped together a launching device and launched a rock on it. The DM said it would take me more than one round to build it.
Shut the fuck up.
And because it was funny at the time, I laughed and I agreed. My next turn, though, I did launch it, and it hit the enemy, but the DM said it did no damage because he was immune to non-magical bludgeoning. This happened a bunch more times, and I was getting so tired of being punished for trying to be creative that I ended up skipping several sessions purely because I was afraid my DM was going to turn my spells around on me in every combat, and that the party would be better off in battle without me as a variable. My last straw was when the entire party had been dropped out of the sky, and I casted Featherfall, like normal. I explained what I do to cast it. I pull a string on my backpack and it puffs out to be a parachute that I clip to my party members as we fall. I thought the DM would be more lenient in a situation where several party members could be killed by fall damage. The DM looks genuinely pleased to tell me that I can't, because we left all of our bags behind when we left town. I remind him, out of game, again, that I am just casting a spell mechanically, and even change my wording so that they're parachute parts instead. But he's still adamant, and we fall, and we die.
Your DM is an absolute fucking loser.
I left that table and I never came
Good.
back. Good,
Fucking
Andy,
hell.
good.
Jesus Christ.
Oh my god! Boo!
Why? Like, what's
Boo!
the... What is the reason? There's
Shut up!
There's literally no reason other than you're just trying to make this person have a bad time and you hate
You were
creativity.
getting to. So go ahead and talk about it.
Okay, so character was an artificer. Player was kind of flavor focused. The thing you're supposed to do with artificers is flavor your spells as inventions, right? That has nothing to do with the mechanics. If your artificer says, I cast Cure Wounds, they're supposed to just be able to cast Cure Wounds. It's not supposed to do anything else. If they cast Featherfall, that's still just Featherfall. I don't remember what the first example was, but I remember hearing it and thinking, that is fucked. Why would you... It was Catapult. It was Catapult.
Yeah.
So they came up with, here is how I put this spell together to make it actually happen, because I'm an artificer.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna
and
build a
that's
cat.
question I
I'm
have
gonna
to
build the cat. I'm gonna build a little flinger, and it's like, well, that won't happen all in one turn. And it's like, first of all, it's like, okay, that's kind of funny, and the player went with it.
Right, because sure, okay, it doesn't happen all at once. Why not? That is silly.
First of all, first of all, again, my perspective, that's bullshit. You're casting the spell, which means you built that like Iron Man's nano machines do, and you tossed it at whatever was supposed to catapult. It lands on it upside down, flips over, and it's now in its little launcher thing, and it launches, and it works exactly like the spell does, and we move on with our lives, and you've flavored it. But
this isn't even the punchline.
No, but I just wanted everybody to know how you actually run this, like right away, because like that was like me getting up and being upset.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, right off the bat, the DM is pulling some shady shit, but the player goes with it. Player takes their next turn, finishes casting Catapult, which they shouldn't have had to do. Fires the Catapult. Yeah, this creature's immune to non-magical bludgeoning damage.
But it's a spell.
We cast a spell.
No, you didn't. You threw a little launcher. I was like, motherfucker, and yeah, and it goes on.
The immediate first comment in that on that TikTok was, "Oh well, if I didn't cast a spell, then I didn't spend a spell slot, right?"
Yeah, you know. Oh God, and
I mean, if that's the precedent you want to set,
and just to show how bad of a DM this person was, when everybody's falling through the sky and he goes to cast Featherfall and flavors it as him deploying a parachute and attaching it to his friends, he said, "Oh, but you guys left all your backpacks and things." Like, yeah, but this is a spell. Like, this is just how the spell looks, but it's a spell. But you left your backpack, you all fall and die, and the game ended. That ended the game. That ended him being a DM unless he finds new victims. And that's what they would be, as victims. So, yeah. I really, really, really hate that shit.
I'm not a good DM. I will freely own that I am not a good DM. I have had practically no practice. I'm awkward and fumbling. I don't do nearly enough prep work for a bunch of reasons. I barely do enough prep work to be a player. This man is not a bad DM. I want to clarify that. Being a bad DM implies that they are making a mistake. This person is a victimizer who is using a position of authority to impose his view
He's
that
assault.
he is the most important person here.
He's assaulting those players. He is damaging people in a way that I feel like I am helping you recover from some of the shit that your dad pulled that was very similar. Not to the same degree, but like
Not nearly to the same degree, but
not
I see
nearly.
the angle you're talking about.
Yeah,
And
it's
yeah, having been through that and that having been how it
Yeah.
felt, I get what you're talking about, and yes.
Yeah, there's so much of the time where I'm like, your character, if your character has high intelligence, your character's smarter than you are, and you can feel free. If I set out a puzzle that I'm like, I set out a puzzle, there's a thing, you can feel free to just roll your character's intelligence. And I'll start by giving hints so that other people can participate in the puzzle solve, but you can just have your character roll and solve.
Having the option to brute force your way through a puzzle on sheer intelligence is a nice add.
Yeah.
I would never figure out to do that. I would look at, like, I literally make the mistake on a regular basis of looking at intelligence and going, well, that only really matters if I want to do research, so dump stat.
And
that is a sin I commit on a regular basis. I think it's a sin I actually committed with Boris way back in the day.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
but,
so
yeah, I'm going to go on yet another tangent because, like, I didn't even make the connection of my dad's GMing style to this abusive prick.
Oh, wow.
For a bunch of reasons. So now I'm heated.
Oh, sorry.
So I'm just going to go ahead and remind everybody that this one time I made a dwarven, I think it was a Twilight cleric, for a small game that my dad ran for a vacation.
Yeah.
Like, I went out, like, this was my first vacation with my family. I went out to see them.
Yeah.
My dad had retired from things, and he was running a game. And I made a dwarven Twilight cleric.
All right.
About 2/3 of the way through this game, he had a wizard show up to try and kill a bunch of people that we were protecting. And I started a Twilight Sanctuary, right?
Yeah.
We were 6th level, started a Twilight Sanctuary to give us the protection because I'm a cleric, that's part of my job. And then the wizard teleports to the top of a cliff. A cliff that we were previously told was a couple miles tall. Because what my dad wanted was for us to not attack that guy. He wanted that guy to be indestructible. So he put him 2 miles away.
All right.
I'm probably going to need to unlearn this as a habit, but I said, 2 miles? And he's still able to cast spells at us? That's way too far. How did he even get up there if it's 2 miles away? So Dad shortens it to be within reach of the spell dimension door.
300 feet. All right. Something like that.
Which puts him within longbow range. Almost. I have to get just a little bit closer. About 25 to 30-ish feet, according to, I think, Pythagorean theorem. And, like, I do the math on that because we're theater of the minding. Right?
Okay.
So it's unfortunate that he's just shy of 30 feet away from me, so I can't shoot him with my longbow without disadvantage, right?
Okay.
So as a bonus action, I fly up 30 feet. I fly at my full move speed directly towards it. So can I make an attack? Oh. Yeah? Cool. This +2 longbow you gave me. Do I have advantage because he's not expecting a flying dwarf to shoot him with a bow? Yeah? Just absolutely flabbergasted him. And, like, I am absolutely going to continue to be petty about it for the rest of my life because that was a win that I wasn't expecting to get. And
and this is why I said that your dad's not the same, because it's not.
Because, like,
but
he's not doing it to be a dick.
Yeah.
He's doing it because he imposes consequences for decisions.
Well, no,
And
I'm
sometimes he's a little
talking
rough about it.
I'm talking about, like, you know, the river's going out, and you guys kind of like missed the fact that the river was going out. And he's like, yeah, you guys all become brain dead with the river flowing out of the cave, and you guys build a little boat, set it on fire, and then watch it, of course, not go into the cave. And it's like, and this is where I say, like, the character's intelligence or wisdom is higher than the player's. I will, you know, verbalize.
That's not even the worst example of that.
Well, yeah, no, but I'm like, I will verbalize it. And finally, the last ability of the elemental manipulation cantrip that I have written is to manifest your element in a 5-foot cube. So you can and shape up to a 5-foot cube of your element, and then manifest your element in a 5-foot cube. And of course, this scales up per regular cantrip to 4d6 at 17th level. And then I have like a breakdown of the elements and like what kind of saves they do. So fire, earth, water, air, magma, smoke, ice, lightning, light, shadow, gem, blast, mud, blaze, clay, wood. You know, typical normal elements. I have been reworking this into a 6-element system for the tabletop game that I've been designing since January. What happened in January? That everybody started designing new TTRPGs. I wonder.
The world may never know.
But yeah, so we have these backgrounds and ranks. Now, one of the other things you get with every rank is you get a feat.
Like, it's important that that's clarified because that lets you get like 11 feats just out of this system.
Yeah.
Because rank 0, the first level feat, and then regular feats every other rank after that.
And it kind of fits
Every specific rank.
Yeah.
Not like you don't get them at 1, 3, 5 is what I'm trying to say.
I have not. I think I ended up creating like over 100 new feats for you guys.
Okay, look. I think 16 of those are stance feats.
I took a shortcut, yes.
And then there's the race-specific feats that you made for races that weren't already provided in Xanathar's. So that's like another 30.
I made divine channel divinity, unique channel divinity feats based on the gods that you worship. So there's
yes. So that's another 15.
Yeah.
Then there was the otherkin feats, which I'm counting separate from the racial feats because there's like 12 of them, 6, some number.
3
so,
or 5, something. But yeah,
half to 2/3 of that 100 feats is easily
just the same feat rewritten in different ways. Different flavors.
At the very least, it follows a boilerplate.
Yes, but what? Like they don't do that with other things? It still works.
Maybe.
But yeah, but because I have the feats like this, I told you guys you don't get feats on your ASIs. You just get the ASI.
Yep. Which means that we both get ASI and we get feats, which I like.
Yeah, and
big numbers.
And it gets everybody up to the higher stats. But yeah, that's how I have backgrounds, and I personally like the backgrounds. I personally I wish other games ran this so that way I could have it when I play in other games. All right, let's wrap up. That
seems good.
Yeah. Cool. Well, so again, guys, thank you so much for supporting us on Ko-Fi. You can sub for things. That just helps monthly. Once we have 220 people subbed, I can take more time because I don't have to worry about rent. And I can really push out more content. Until then, content is not released on a monthly basis, but when things get done, it does take time to accurately test out different things. Yeah. You say the thing this time. Try it.
Oh, okay. This is Pangoria, Fallstar, and Pumpkin signing off. Say goodbye, Fallstar.
Goodbye, Fallstar.
Hey!